Peter Rose, Longwood Currency Trading. A video today on let it run until it's got no more run left to it. Has to do with as a trade is moving in your favor. Don't cut it short. Let it let it go. I kind of alluded to this and discussed it a little bit in my video about law of large numbers and getting your expectation of win from that, and then when you see the opportunity to prices is continuing to move, don't choke it off. So I have a real life example of that in today's trading. I'm not probably going to publish this video until 3 or 4 days from now because we're coming on the weekend, but it's middle of March of 2021. And I've been having some successful trades because we've got quite a bit of volatility in the markets right now, and I've been squeezed them pretty good. You know, I've been running I don't know, $500 a day, $600 a day. So I just popped 350, 370 today this morning in about 15 minutes. I sensed that things were going to move, and so I set a couple of limit orders, and they were not usually as close together. In other words, I was looking for a little bit further out profit target than I normally would. You know, if I see that there's potential of 20 pips of profit out there, I'll set a long runner profit target at that point. But I'm going to manage that, and if it starts to stagger a little bit, then I'll get out at 10 pips or 13 or whatever I can squeeze out of it. So because of the volatility, I wasn't really sure what the markets were going to do. I had some open orders that could have hit during the night. They were outstanding as I was sitting there watching TV last night, and I thought, that's stupid. I don't want to do carry trades. I'm not going to do this, particularly under the volatility. And so I slapped myself and took all the pending orders off the screen and went to bed. And that's the first time I've set orders up like that could have triggered overnight in months. I don't want to get back into that habit. That's something that can work out really well for you, or while you're sleeping away, if you miss the alarm that the order is triggered and it turns around and flips and goes the other way, you could be underwater real quick and dying. So I got up this morning and looked at the charts. I said, wow, this thing has exploded. It was, if I would have had those orders in, it would have worked out for me, but that's okay. I wasn't on that bus, so I'm not gonna grouse about that. But it was early in the morning, not early because I don't get up early. And the markets, they showed that there was going to be quite a bit of juice. So I put a couple of limits in, as I said, and I figured I'll catch an easy 10 pips or whatever. So I went about my business and doing my thing. I got a cup of coffee, and I come back in, and I'm doing an email to a friend of mine, and I happen to look at the profit and loss thing. $450 up, $430 up. Holy shit, that's great money. Boom! I hit the sell button, and I had staged into the position. So they went, like 1, 2, 3. By the time it did that, I was at 375 on the overall profit for the thing. And I thought, well, isn't that sweet? And what I should have done is waited and not choke that off, but let it run. Because what happened was, by not managing that trade correctly, and by having that profit target limit stop, I mean, if it would have hit the limit stop, instead of making 375, I might have made 550, something like that. No, I wouldn't have made, probably close to 500. But by getting out at $373 of profit, I left about $2,000 on the table, because that fucker just dropped like a stone. And I'm not grousing about that, because there's certainly been plenty of times where I've second guessed that, gone in for the second trade. That was the bottom of the thing or the top or whatever, and it's turned around, and then I've lost whatever I've made for the day, or I end up with $10 profit, and I go, oh man, you know, for the amount of heat that I put on, $10, that's kind of stupid. So I'll continue to make trades through the day, and they don't work out. The reason they don't work out is not so much that I don't know what I'm doing, but it's because I'm looking for volatility that is no longer there. You know, my trades are set up so that they go very quickly when they work for me, because I trade on momentum, price action and momentum. Well, once that momentum is fulfilled, it's like running your gas tank down to the bare bones. All of a sudden that engine starts to stutter, right? So I think you have to be really, really careful about setting stops and just getting taken out when the price gets there. You know, maybe like some folks set risk stop loss points far enough away so that the price has plenty of room to breathe. You know, maybe the thing to do is to set the potential take profit limit way out, so that if the thing runs, you're going to catch that extra juice. The caveat to that is you shouldn't be doing that at all. If you have a trade on, you should be there managing that trade, so that things like what happened to me this morning don't happen to you. Is that I should have been there, I should have taken a couple of seconds. Well, I had a lot of heat on, so that the 400, well, I was at 4, the profit was 450. When I looked at it, there was a brief reversal of the thing, and so when I closed my position, because I had a few lots on, it evaporated the different $50 to $70 in my profit. Just boom, it just went like that. It was only 2 or 3 pips, but I mean, you know, it's a lot of dollars. So you tend to, when you get in a situation like that where you're showing a really nice profit, you don't want that to evaporate. You don't want to lose. You have more of a fear of loss at that point than you have of a want for gain. That's a phrase that my martial arts master, Sam Brock, taught us, that as human beings we have more of a fear of loss than we have of a want for gain. We're more afraid of losing what we have than we are of pushing and looking to better ourselves and to make more. And so I think that we have to be really, really careful as traders that we manage any trade that we're in. You know, if you have a little 8-year-old and you're out at the swimming pool or down at the beach and they're swimming around in there, you don't walk off to get a hot dog. You're there watching that kid, so that if something happens, you're able to get in there and take care of it. In this case, we're not looking for a damage control. We're looking for a profit control. And if the price is going to continue in the direction that you thought it was, I mean, what do you know? Is it going to go 10 pips? Is it going to go 100 pips? You don't fucking know. You know, you quantify your risk, but you shouldn't quantify your gain. And so here's a perfect example. Instead of making $2,500 in, well, it was probably about 15 minutes, I made $373, which is okay. I'm not grousing at that. But $2,500 or $2,000 or $1,500 or $800 would have been better. And so I talk about managing trades and letting those winners run and cutting your losses short. But emotionally, it's very, very difficult to have those profits accumulating and you see part of them start to evaporate. There's a tendency to want to get out. Now, if you're trading with mini lots, you don't have that problem, because, I mean, the difference is you're going to go from, you know, let's say the price moves 10 pips and then it goes to 20 pips. I mean, it's a a $10 difference that you're losing. And so, okay, I made $10 and now I've lost 10 and I'll just stay with the position. Well, it's different when you're trading and the pip value is 30 or 50 or $100 a pip, because you're watching literally hundreds of dollars evaporate in, I mean, when you have a very volatile drop or increase in price, you know, it's gonna go shooting up, and then it'll stagger a little bit, and then boom, and then collect itself, and then continue on. That little stagger point, that isn't where you get out. That's you've heard my videos before where I say you get, when it starts to chatter, you get out. No, it starts to chatter, makes you pay real attention to that, so that if it swings around and starts to go against you, that's when you get out. But just having a chatter is a good thing. It's taking a breath. You know, the swimmer is in the pool and he dives in and he's swimming like crazy. You got to turn his head every now and then and take a breath. It doesn't mean that he's stopping, that he's out of air. He's taking a breath to keep going. And that's what price does sometimes. Traders, look, it's traders that are behind this. And it's institutions that are behind this. They feed these orders into the market and everybody's absorbing them up. But if they go too far, they'll turn the price around on themselves. So they got to stop, make people think, oh, you know, this is okay. Then they get back in because they think a turn is coming, and boom, and they hit them again. So there's so many factors involved in this stuff that you should sort of be aware of. But more aware than anything is that we have more of a fear of loss than we have of a want for gain, and that we really have to be cognizant of that as price is running in our favor toward that stop that we've got out there. Now, the stops for profit are good to have, but you have to manage those stops. If profit is really ripping toward your profit target, you don't sit there and say, oh my God, it's 3 pips away from my profit target. I'll just get out now in case it turns around. No, what you do is you close that limit order. You close that profit limit order and watch the price, because it could go through your limit area like shit through a goose, and you could make hundreds and hundreds of dollars more. Or it could stop there and it could turn around and go against you 4, 5, or 6 pips, and you go, oh, okay, I guess the turns happened. I was right where my profit target was. I probably should have got it. So you lose 5 pips. Well, listen, if you're trading for 5 or 10 pips on a trade, then you're fucked. You're not going to make any money. You have to have your profit targets out there 20, 25, 30 pips away, and then manage the price. If it looks like it's stalling out after it's gone 5 pips, get out. Take 5 pips. If it goes 15 or so pips, take the profit off, take the limit off, and let's see what that price is going to do. Could you possibly give up 5 pips and go back from a 15 pip win to a 10 pip win? Yeah, but a 10 pip win is great. If you could do 10 pips a day, you could make a really nice living. I mean, you can't do it on a $10,000 account, but I mean, you could on a $10,000 account, that's $10 a pip, 10 pips, that's $100 a day. That's pretty good. $500 a week. That's, you know, that's $25,000 a year. So you can't slight even the smallest number of pips that you make. The idea is to ring the cash register in a positive way every day. And you trade, and you can trade as many times as you want, as long as you're not trading in a high volatility process. Trade once in a high volatility process and run that price as far as it'll go. If you have just normal price action, you can set your profit target, and when it gets hit, go out, because there'll be normal retracements at that point. When you have high volatility, normal retracements don't happen. So if you're having normal price action, then getting out at your profit target is a good idea, because that's where you thought price should go. You buy a ticket to go from here to Chicago. When you get to Chicago, you get off the train because you don't care if it's going to go to Canada. It doesn't matter. So I'm not grousing today that I got off the train at 375 and saying, oh, I should have stayed on because I could have got 2,000. I'm happy with the 375. I'd have been happy at the end of the day with $100. I'd be happy at the end of the day with $5 because I end the day a little bit better than I started out with. And you get in the habit of that, the expectation of that. And you trade a lot so that you don't have to trade. It's only when you sit down and you're only going to make one trade a week that you have to be really, really careful, and it's got to be right, and all this other stuff. You better be shooting for the long haul and not happy with a 10 pip day or 50 pip day or something like that, because the work involved in doing that is really high. If you're constantly in there trading or looking for trades when the price action tells you that it's time to do that, you can make a lot of money. If there's a lot of volatility, you're going to make one trade, maybe two, to take advantage of that volatility. But once you've taken your position off the table under high volatility conditions, you can't re-enter, because when that volatility ends, when that price increase, that spike, that's going to turn into a fucking pin bar, and that price is going to come down against you so much that you could lose everything that you made for the day and 2 days before, because you're going to go into denial then. Oh, price is going over, it'll come back, you don't want to get into that. So in a high volatility day, you're going to trade once. So if you're going to trade once, let that price run as far as it's going to go. And if it backs up on you and you end up with a pin bar and you lose, let's say I rode that price down to $2,000 and I pin barred, and it pin barred back up, and I was at 1,000. I can't grouse at the fact that I lost $1,000. I made 1,000, right? So you have to look realistically at this stuff. If you trade every day, and you trade sometimes when the price action dictates that you can do 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 trades a day, you're trading. You're doing that. So when tomorrow comes, you don't have to say, oh, I got to play the game. You played the game yesterday, you played the game the day before. Today, maybe you don't play at all. It doesn't matter. Somewhere in the world, the dice are always being thrown. So you don't have to run up to the table and put your money down right away. Peter Rose, Longwood Currency Trading. Have a great day, and have a great trading day.